The MMA world is still reacting to Ilia Topuria's brutal defeat to Justin Gaethje at the UFC White House Card. But interestingly, the result itself has almost become secondary to the images that emerged after the fight.
He might never be the same fighter. He's undefeated. He got beaten badly. He pushed Justin Gaethje. He let his emotions get in the way a little bit. However, when you lose a fight like that, you know, you've been beaten. Like Prince Naseem Hamed. I mean, he was destroying everyone and he lost one fight. And he was never the same again, right?
Yeah.
Now you know you can be beaten. There's that doubt in there. Who knows? Maybe he comes back and he's a better version of himself. Yeah. But we don't know until that happens.
I think Ilia's going to come back better than ever. He's young still. He was going through some personal stuff. I think he's going to come back. I mean, Justin fucking humbled him for sure.
Yeah. I also think, though, like, he's human now. So anyone who fights him now, they're like, they know that's in him, that they know it's a possibility. And a big thing, even with you and like Ilia and these guys, before the losses, they were almost scared in there. Like there's this weird aura, like this scary aura, like he's going to f everyone up. Now that it got exposed a little bit, I think he's not going to come back as just dominating.
Broken.
Instead, the conversation has completely shifted toward the condition Topuria was left in, with photos of the damage to his face quickly spreading across social media and leaving fans wondering just how long one of the UFC's biggest stars could be out of action. For many people watching, this wasn't simply another loss.
Every great athlete loses. GSP lost. I've lost. I've gotten knocked out. Only person who hasn't lost, actually, he has lost. John Jones has also lost. All the greats have lost, ladies and gentlemen. We've all lost. And that doesn't say that Ilia Topuria can't come back and be even greater. Ilia Topuria is 29 years old. He's made a ton of money. But, you know, if you have Ilia Topuria versus Rufi, that would be a fucking sick fight. If you have Ilia Topuria versus Arman Tsarukyan, that would be a sick fight too. He's going to have to deal with Arman Tsarukyan's athleticism, his wrestling, just his will to move around and just be dynamic as an athlete. Can Arman withstand Ilia Topuria's power if you get him out? Now, next time Ilia Topuria fights, if it isn't a title fight, it's going to be 3 rounds. So Ilia Topuria has less rounds to work with. If it's a title fight, so he's got 5 rounds, it changes the strategy a little bit.
I want that rematch. I am going to finish BSD, and I want that rematch with Justin Gaethje for the undisputed title. I told you, didn't I? It was fate. Justin Gaethje, man, that's off to you. You deserve it for the fucking heavy career you've had. You absolutely deserve it, lad. Everyone gave me shit for getting beat by him. What now? What now, lad? Thought he was finished. Thought he was 38. Thought he was over the hill. And then he's just beat you. Greatest fighter of all time, Ilia Topuria. You fucking gang of gobshite. I went 5 with him. I took every fucking shot that he threw at me and kept walking forward. This little bitch has just quit after 4 rounds.
It looked like the type of fight that leaves a lasting mark. As the swelling around Topuria's eye became more visible and reports began circulating that he could require an extended period away from competition, the MMA community immediately started debating what this means for his future and whether the toughest night of his career could ultimately become the biggest turning point of it.
Did it show on the broadcast Ilia like fainting when they were leaving or not?
Yeah, he was like resting on his brother's arms on the way out, like nearly collapsing into him quite badly. Dude, he's got a broken orbital. Broken cheekbone.
Is that confirmed?
I think that he's gonna.
You think Patty's gonna beat Justin Gaethje?
Easy.
Wow.
Easy.
Really easy.
Yeah, easy.
Really easy.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a crazy thing to say. Greatest night in the history of MMA by far.
Yeah.
There's nothing that's ever gonna top this until something does.
I don't think anything's ever gonna top this, man. This was.
And when we think about Ilia Topuria, who was ubiquitously regarded with Islam Makhachev as 1 or 1A in terms of the pound-for-pound kings, going to be fascinating to watch this mixed martial arts athlete rebuild because that was a destructive loss for him and his legacy.
Yeah, and who knows what kind of damage he took because we could be looking at broken orbital bones.
Orbital looks, the way he swole up.
Yeah.
I'm no doctor. Right. I know we like to play doctor at times. We sometimes be saying diagnosis, but his eye, the way it was so black and blue and closed.
Across the sport, the reaction has followed a familiar pattern. Some analysts have praised Justin Gaethje's performance, pointing out that he never allowed Topuria to settle into a comfortable rhythm and gradually forced him into the exact type of exhausting fight that has defined Gaethje's career. Others have focused on Topuria's approach, arguing that continually pressing forward against someone with Gaethje's experience and power eventually created openings that proved far too costly as the fight wore on. One of the biggest talking points has been the damage itself. Veteran fighters have often explained that facial injuries aren't simply about waiting for cuts and swelling to disappear. Once serious damage is involved, sparring usually stops, training has to be modified, and even after the bones heal, rebuilding timing and confidence can take much longer than fans expect. That's why so many people believe the recovery could become just as challenging as the fight itself. The wider conversation has also centered on how unpredictable these situations can be.
Do you feel like he quit? Of course he did. They should stop him on the third round because his eye was closed and he couldn't see. But he wanted to fight because he's a warrior, you know. But like round number 4, his brother said, no, that's enough. That's the right decision, you know, because when you have a one eye, it's so difficult to fight.
I was a little bit surprised. Also, I know that Gaethje is a hell of a fighter. If I were him, what else does he want to accomplish? He did it all.
What do you think is next for Ilia?
Ilia is an unbelievable fighter. Sometimes just not your night. If he fights again, we will probably regain the title. He put too much energy, tried to finish Justin, and when he didn't get it,
I think that really screwed him up. He was expecting to go in there and do what he normally does, knock guys out.
Some of these small guys, they're delusional. They have false confidence because they're hiding behind a weight class.
Were you surprised that Topuria ended up losing?
Topuria, in my eyes, was the best UFC fighter right now, but Topuria makes the mistake of he trains a little too hard. I knew if Gaethje could withstand the storm, he had unorthodox things that he was doing. Gaethje would dip and then grab that uppercut and hit him with the uppercut because, I mean, he's been in those types of fights.
He quit on the stool. He quit twice. I stopped him twice. You know for a fact, you do not ever as a fighter say, I cannot see. He wanted out. Before this, he was a guy that you couldn't get through.
Do you think Ilia's going to try for a rematch?
No, he doesn't get a rematch. He can try, but he doesn't get one. His next challenge can't be me. He needs to fight Patty.
I wonder if he'll still have those celebration dinners the night before.
There's no way.
When you're thinking about competing, who do you think it will be? You think it'll be Arman?
No.
MMA has seen fighters return from devastating defeats looking better than ever, using adversity as motivation to reinvent themselves. At the same time, there have been careers that never quite reach the same heights after absorbing that level of punishment, which is why so many fans are watching Topuria's recovery so closely. Another major question is how long he'll actually be away. Nobody can give a definite timeline because every injury heals differently, but the longer Topuria remains sidelined, the more the lightweight division continues moving without him. Justin Gaethje's victory has completely reshaped the landscape. Contenders continue positioning themselves for opportunities, and potential title discussions will keep evolving while one of the division's biggest names focuses entirely on getting healthy again. That naturally leads to the next debate. Who should Topuria fight when he finally returns? A lot of fans believe an immediate rematch with Gaethje would make perfect sense.
Ilia quit on his stool, almost took Justin out in the second round. It looked like he had really tried to finish Justin, and then Justin started landing bombs in the third round. Ilia had slowed down quite a bit. Justin had him down with his two hands and just smashed a knee into his ribcage. You could see him go like that, and that was the end of the round. The end of the fourth round, Ilia quit on his stool. Both of his eyes were swollen shut. His nose was up. He'd taken so many punches to the face. That was the greatest fight of all time.
What about that 1 minute between the rounds? If Ilia had to come out with that 1 minute where they were looking at him and he said he couldn't see, Justin might have stopped him right then. Ilia had a full minute to completely recover that he should have gotten. Inexperienced doctor.
They overruled Doctor who may not have been as experienced in this.
Mark said it was an inexperienced doctor. You gotta let them fight.
Gotta let them fight.
If they want to fight, you gotta let them fight.
Because of how dramatic the first fight became. Others think taking a different matchup first would be the smarter option, allowing Topuria to rebuild momentum before stepping back into another war. Paddy Pimblett's name continues appearing in those discussions because stylistically and commercially, it's a fight that would attract enormous attention, with many supporters believing the winner could then earn another shot at Gaethje. What's perhaps most encouraging for Topuria is that very few people are questioning his heart. The overwhelming reaction hasn't been that he lacks courage or belongs anywhere other than the top of the division. Instead, most of the discussion has centered on how incredibly difficult it is to stand in front of someone like Justin Gaethje for 25 minutes and leave without carrying the effects afterwards. That's why many fans still believe this setback doesn't define Topuria's future. It simply creates the biggest challenge he's faced so far. Ultimately, this story has become much bigger than one result. It's about recovery, it's about resilience, and it's about whether one of the UFC's brightest stars can return from the toughest night of his career and prove that this wasn't the end of his rise, but the beginning of an even greater comeback. Because when Ilia Topuria eventually walks back into the octagon, the questions won't be about whether he still has talent. They'll be about whether he can overcome the damage, silence the doubts, and show the MMA world that one brutal defeat isn't enough to stop a champion from fighting his way back to the top.